At one time, modular homes were like the black sheep of all home construction. People weren't really trusting of them. Now it is the sexiest term to use.
Oh, yeah.
Modular homes.
Everybody wants to call their homes modular because they know that you trust that. But how do you know if something's actually modular or just them using some sexy words to get you to buy the house? Today, we're going to be going over some of the ways that you can vet some of these modular home companies. All right, let's go ahead and give you your step-by-step guide so that way you don't get scammed, because I don't want to see it.
A woman in California had plans to set up a tiny home for her 87-year-old mother in her backyard. She paid Amazon $12,000 for the unit, but it never arrived.
So let me just tell you about the newest scam that I've been introduced to when it comes to modular homes. And that is people that are selling modular home kits. What they're basically doing is taking homes that they've seen online from websites like Alibaba, and they're basically acting as a broker. So they're buying all these homes, and then they distribute them in your area. So the house that you could have easily gotten off of those websites for half the money, you've now given to a third party for no reason whatsoever. This has become more and more common. I've seen it a lot on Facebook and a lot on Instagram. Now, they can get away with doing this. They're doing a legitimate business. It's just not helping you as a consumer whatsoever. Thing I want you to be very cautious of is that these aren't technically considered modular homes. Yes, they can connect together as little modules connected together, but they may not meet the building code in your area. You have to know what the exact building code is. And even though these salesmen are selling you something, they have no responsibility to the product themselves. And what has happened is some of these people that have gotten these houses, they realize that they have some kind of problem with the house. And then when they go to call the reseller back, sure enough, that line has been disconnected. Even though you may be getting a house that you think is very inexpensive, those modular homes that you may be getting off of those websites may not be considered true modular.
While all modular homes must meet IRC, International Residential Code, that alone doesn't guarantee quality. There are a few key certifications and industry memberships that can help buyers verify a manufacturer's reliability. MHBA, Modular Home Builders Association. This signals that a manufacturer adheres to industry best practices and advocates for high construction standards. State or third-party inspections. Some states require additional inspections beyond the IRC. Look for third-party certifications.
This is the quality assurance. So this is actually a requirement by our third-party inspection agency. You can see that we've got a sign-off system where the supervisor in this area has to check it off, and then our quality control people, they all have to check that off.
And what I'm saying with true modular, meaning it meets or is above the traditional building code in your area. It has to have certain kinds of 2x4s and the spacing between them, and it has to have certain kinds of insulation, and it has to meet wind zones, and it has to have the right kind of siding, and it has to have the right kind of roof strapping. And all of these things, if you're planning on putting them in a yard or a piece of property, have to meet local building code. You still need to have permits for them. When you're building a modular home, you have to have building permits, even if you're doing it yourself or you're ordering it from a third-party site. Be very aware of what you're getting, because just like anything, if you think that you're getting something like way cheap, usually you're getting something way cheap. It may not be what you're anticipating, and you're going to be stuck because there's no one you can get a hold of to fix the problems that you have or bring it up to the building code that you have. When you're looking at these websites, I want you to really take a look at the contracts before you sign on anything. I want you to get a full detailed description of the house itself. I want you to get all the plans of that house, and I want you to take that down to your local permitting office so that way you can see if it will be approved for your area. If it will be approved for your area, I want you to run through that contract with a fine-tooth comb. Find out if there is any issues you do have with the house. What is the steps that you need to take in order to get those issues cleared up? In that contract, if there is a phone number for those problems that you may have in the future, call it now before you sign on the dotted line. See if there's anybody that actually answers the phone. Believe it or not, that a lot of these overseas vendors will answer the phone and they will help you. I'm not saying that anything that you buy overseas is going to be garbage or crap or a scam. A lot of them are reputable. You just have to do your homework ahead of time. And a lot of it comes down to what was written in that contract in the first place. But this is a buyer beware thing. Even though there's a contract there, these people are overseas. And if they don't do what they're supposed to do, what's really going to happen to them? probably nothing. So just know that if you're getting into this situation, that you have to have some kind of way of recourse. A good portion of these companies will work with you. A good portion of them are a hot scam. And if it's something new that you just saw on Instagram and you've never heard of this company before, start digging. I would not even touch those companies until they've been around for at least a year. So that way you can start seeing if other people have gotten their homes, if you can check out Reddit pages or other Facebook groups that talk about these specific homes, because there's a new one popping up every minute. And a good portion of them are full-on scams. The internet is a great place. It also can find you some really cool homes, but it also can steer you down the wrong path, especially when you're desperate to find a really good, nice, affordable home. So those are the internet modular homes. Let's just talk about the regular modular home companies that you can find in your local phone book. You remember those things?
Black Wolf Homes is under a fraud investigation. Discovered court documents that show Black Wolf filed for bankruptcy in August.
Modular home companies are much like custom home builders, and they build their modulars in their factory, custom for their factory. Even though they're on an assembly line, it doesn't mean they're like mass produced like peanut butter. They're still individual people that are making each one of those homes. So if you happen to find a modular home company and it has a name that you're not aware of, that doesn't mean it's a red flag. That just means that they're a custom home builder. They just happen to build their houses within the factory. A red flag, or at least a yellow flag, is if they won't let you see the factory itself. That to me always is like, it makes me scratch my head. What are you hiding? Why won't you let us see the inside of it?
What are you hiding?
Many years ago, they wouldn't let me go into any of them. And now they're letting me go in and visit a lot of these factories. They want the public to know that they build a good quality home and how they do it. If they're not allowing you to go visit it and see how those houses are being built, that's something you should be at least questioning quite a bit. But if this doesn't bother you and you're still on board with this modular home company, the next thing I want you to do is ask them for some kind of referral or talk to a past client where you can actually see the home itself. If they say, oh, here, watch this video, this is one of our clients, I wouldn't necessarily trust that. I want to actually see the house itself, and you should too.
Hi! We're friends now! Yay, look at here.
Everything's different.
Oh, that's nice.
I worked one.
That's nice. They're going to put it in for you.
Yeah, they're gonna do it for me. Electrician's here.
I love your property.
Yeah. Can I go downstairs?
Yes.
We're finishing the basement, so.
What is the R value of a basement insulation?
So R21, I was able to get it back.
I'm excited for you. I hope you're in way before August. I hope you're in the mid-July at the latest.
No, the appliances are coming mid-July. They'll be in here before me.
Oh, come on. Maybe we'll get lucky. You should be able to call somebody on the phone and talk to them about their experience with that specific modular home company. Again, if it's only like a year old, they may only have a couple that you could talk to in the area. That doesn't mean that it's a bad house. You just want to make sure that you are able to talk to those owners and see what their experience is. Now, just like any company, if they're super pushy and trying to overly appease you and overpromise a bunch of things, that to me, again, is more of like a yellow flag. Some of these modular home companies, as they're first starting out, they do want to overpromise and overdeliver because they're trying to get a good name for themselves. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a red flag, but just be very aware of what they're trying to do. And whenever you get to the point where you're deciding that if you are going to go ahead and purchase their modular home, ask for, again, the contract. Ask them for the paperwork to take with you. If they're not willing to give you the contract to take with you, that right there is a red flag. And you're certainly not handing a check over for anything until you understand what's in that contract itself. And if it has a bunch of legalese that you can't understand, ask a title attorney to look it over before you sign anything. Some of these contracts with very unreputable modular home companies, they read very vaguely. And most of the time they read where they only protect them as the modular home company and not you as the home buyer. So see if there's also ways that you could adjust adjust that contract, even though it's with the company, and see if you can have things written in it. One more thing that you should know, it doesn't matter if it's a modular home company, a traditional home builder, a manufactured home, a tiny home, an PMRV, does not matter. If they've promised something that is not written in that contract, that means that they do not have to do it. So every little detail that you have requested to be done to this house, even though they've said, oh, don't worry about it, we'll take care of that later.
Don't do it.
No. You're not doing anything until it's written in that contract. So you have a leg to stand on as things go awry. Also within that contract, you should also have some kind of dates that things are supposed to be completed. Now, every modular home company that's been reputable that I've known over the years has a timeline to get things actually built. They'll tell you when they're going to start, they'll tell you how many days until it's finished, and then they have a timeline for the actual builders to connect your home together. That also includes your prep work for your land, your foundations, all of that should be written out around about where it's going to be done and when it's going to get finished. They may give you a 2-month window, a 3-month window, but that should be written in there. I've seen it where they have not done this, and people have been waiting for 2 years to have their modular home completed. To me, that's a business that's failing or really close to bankruptcy.
Our salesperson said if we signed with them that weekend, they would pay for our permit.
They would do it all for us, and we didn't really have to get our hands into it.
I now feel like I've been sort of duped.
We are in 23,000 and we were stuck in permitting.
Also, when you're talking to the salespeople at the modular home company, ask them who is the installation team that they have hired for their modular homes. They should have their own modular home teams that are putting this together. Someone they've worked with and have hired for years and years and years. They may be part of the company itself, or they may have an outside team, a different company that puts the houses together. Whenever you're researching these modular home companies, also research the companies that put the house together. A lot of times, these houses that are being delivered to the site, that actual house isn't the issue. It ends up being the people that put the house together. Not all installation teams are built the same. Some of these teams on some companies are not even fully licensed, or they only have one contractor that has a license, and all the rest of them are just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Make sure that the team that's putting your house together, whether that's modular, manufactured, traditional, does not matter. Those subcontractors have a reputation. And if they have been doing a bad job, trust me, out there will be Google reviews. They will have a Better Business Bureau rating. Look it all up and find out. You can also check on Reddit. You'd be surprised, even in the smallest towns, there's some kind of Reddit page, especially if someone's got a gripe. You know, I've been telling you 100 times to look over those contracts. I also want you to pay attention to the contract after you've given the deposit. You may have questions about your home build for quite some time. So you may have so many days before you can actually pull the deposit from them. Sometimes they're like non-refundable deposits. The worst thing that can happen during this time is very poor communication. You talk to the salespeople, they say that they are going to do this for you. Then when you get to the builders, they say, oh, well, we never even knew about that. And then it wasn't written in the contract, and it took them several days to get a hold of them. If you're starting to have these issues before the house is delivered, if you're starting to get an uneasy feeling, it's better for you to lose that $2,000 deposit than have a $250,000 mistake. I know it's really hard to lose money. Trust me, I wouldn't want you to lose $2,500
and spend so much money.
But I certainly wouldn't want you to make a $200,000 to $300,000 or $400,000 mistake and be stuck with this house that you hate with a company that isn't reputable. Now, a lot of states across the country have something called a New Home Warranty Act. That is an additional coverage to your brand new home. And this goes beyond what the builder is offering. It is required by them by law for that specific state to cover certain things like the roof, basement in some areas, the slab in other areas, the structure itself. They may have a few years extra warranty on those things that they have to repair them. For instance, here in Louisiana, if you were to buy a brand new house and you had a leak in the roof after a year and a half, they would have to fix that. The builder here would have to fix it because our state's Home Warranty Act covers that. Most of these Home Warranty Acts only cover things, I think, up to 10 years. But make sure that you get a copy of every single warranty on every single appliance and everything in your house when you're going to close on it. So many other things are covered under warranties that may not be covered by the builder. So find out what those things are when you're meeting with them, when you're doing your first manufactured tour and you're talking to them about their specific homes. You want to know what their warranties are and what other products will have warranties that come with it. Now, there are modular home companies across the country. I can't give you the best ones in every single state. It's absolutely impossible. It would take me years of research just to do one state because they're all individual small builders. Now, I know you're thinking, but I've heard of XYZ huge company that makes them. And I went to their lot and I got to see them. And I want you to be very aware of something that they're doing. And it's very sneaky. And they'll say, any home that you see, even though it is a HUD certified manufactured home, otherwise known as a mobile home, we can turn that into a modular home. A lot of times it's not a modular home. It's something that they're calling a modular home, but it's a hybrid modular home. It's not a true modular. It is not built to above building code in your area. It is just, they've added components to a mobile home to make it seem more like a traditional house. That does not make it a true modular. If it has a VIN number on it, it is still a manufactured home. It will still appraise as a manufactured home. With modular homes, when you're going to get financed, you are financing it exactly like you would any other new construction loan. When you're financing a manufactured HUD certified home, that financing process is completely different. And it has a higher interest rate. And if they're not willing to give you the numbers so you can compare it to other banks in the area, so that way you know exactly what you're buying, that to me is a giant red flag. If they're pressuring you and they won't let you leave their lot unless you talk to their finance people, come on. You know, if this is a true reputable modular home company, they're not going to force you into their finance office. They know they're building a good product. They don't have to force you into their finance department because they finance just like traditional homes. It's still the same. My biggest warning on this is the bigger the name, the more cautious I would be when it comes to what they say is a modular home. Just remember, if it's a VIN number, it's not a modular home. It's still a manufactured home. And don't let them snowball you into this hybrid product. The salespeople don't even know that they're selling you something that's inferior as a product because they're just salespeople. They don't know anything about the building process. They just want to sell you a house. I don't fault them. Some of them I do because they know what they're selling. But I'm hoping that I can arm you with the best information by watching these videos so that way you do not get scammed, especially over homes over the internet. That is, to me, a very gray area. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but gee whiz, some of them, yikes, yikes, fruit stripes. And some of them, they come out and they have this really great idea and a great mission statement, but you never see any of the houses. And it's like years down the road and they keep begging you for more investment money. Like, when are you going to put out a damn house? Great concept, but you still haven't come up with any houses. There's a few out there. I know you know who I'm talking about. I don't have to say the name, but so are you considering a modular home? Let me know in the comments section below. To watch more videos about modular home companies I have visited and some more information about modular homes, you're going to want to watch these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters and everybody deserves an affordable home.